One coin I'd like to talk about right now is Verge, also known as XVG. I'll go ahead and I'll look at the summary here with you guys. It's currently has a market cap of 1.4. It already is one of the top 100 coins on CoinMarketCap, and the reason I wanted to talk about it today very quickly at a high level, I'm not going to get too deep, is because it's been getting some attention recently, and this is a coin that has been getting an equal amount of attention like IOTA is right now, and I'll cover IOTA in another video, probably after this. But some of the points I wanted to cover really quickly at a high level was the history of Verge, Verge versus Monero and its differences, and then we have the IP leak and what happened, and on top of that, I'm going to give my thoughts on that. So the history of Verge is a little disputed. Some people think that Verge is started from a literal fork of Dogecoin, and it was called Dogecoin Dark. And some other people think it could have been a fork of something else like Nova Coin. And I've read that on Stack Exchange, and I've also read that on Reddit. I've read that on a few cryptocurrency forums. So that the origin of it is a little unclear, and I'm still kind of looking into that at the moment. So if anyone has a good resource to that, I can add it to the description if you guys want me to correct me on that. And so that's the brief history of Verge, and what's happening is that Verge is trying to be the alternative to a privacy coin, meaning that the ledger should be anonymized, and there should be a community of anonymity where whatever I buy or sell with my cryptocurrency should be completely anonymous. And so that movement is very strong right now, and it's still a very strong supported narrative. And what's interesting is that currently Monero is kind of pushing that whole narrative on, that's the #1 privacy coin right now. And so from what I've read, that is Monero uses the Onion layer network, where it uses layering to create this I would say create this anonymous presence within their ecosystem, so that you can't track what I'm buying, what I'm sending, who I'm sending to, and so on. And that's why, for that reason, a lot of the Tor network black market sites use Monero only. And now what's interesting about that is Verge is almost trying to be like a competition to that, and Verge uses something called the Wraith network, or also it's called the Wraith protocol. And I've seen that network protocol word being interchanged here and there online. So I believe the main way I'm sorry, the main way to call it is the Wraith protocol. But what it is that Verge uses the Tor network that gives the user an option to turn it on or off, so you can have the option to be anonymous or not. And it's supposed to be, from what I'm read, a little bit faster than Monero. Although it looks like it's a new technology, and it looks like it's completely undeveloped. I saw this video on YouTube that I'm going to link in the description, and I believe the guy's name was David Hay, and he was talking about Verge and Monero. And what's interesting, what he said is Monero's wallet and their community is very mature, and or it's maturing, and it has a strong team behind it. And if Monero is working fine, then what's the point of using Verge in the first place? So I think that's a really interesting narrative, is that if Monero is the de facto privacy coin, or will be that privacy coin, what's the point of using Verge? And I believe from the groups that I'm involved in, I'm the Telegram groups that I've joined, or the Discord groups, or the any of the other communities you're in within the crypto community, people just like the narrative of privacy. So the fact that there's another player into the game like Verge, people are willing to support it just to push that privacy narrative. Not to say that Verge is better than Monero, and I'm still really looking into that what's going to happen. But I believe it's just the whole narrative of people are supporting privacy, and that the whole point of having financial sovereignty was also to have your privacy behind that. There shouldn't be any oversight from a third party. And I think Verge is kind of marketing itself to be part of that narrative, and that's why I believe people are kind of just pushing Verge, not for the sake of the technology, but for the sake of that strong privacy storyline that people are all trying to push. So that's kind of like what I see on Verge versus Monero, and I'm going to add some final thoughts on that in the end. The next thing I wanted to add is there was this strange mention of like an IP leak, and people were confused, saying that Verge actually leaks IP addresses. And I found some good articles on how that was actually fake, and it was actually didn't even happen. And I'm going to add that into the description, but apparently it was debunked, and people found out that the IP addresses were indeed still hidden, and they weren't leaked in the first place. So that's something interesting I found. I'm not sure if that's more of like a marketing play against Verge from Monero. People are joking that it could have been. At this point, we don't really know. So anyway, like the last point I want to add, like I said, I just wanted to touch this on a very high level. I'm not going to get too deep into this. Is what are my final thoughts on Verge for the moment? What do I think of it? I think like a lot of this is still speculation. I think a lot of these coins, are really reliant on the teams behind them, and also how the market thinks of those teams and how those teams are supported. I think that's kind of like the main point here is, I can't really kind of come out and say, well, looking at this graph, it's up and now it's down, it's up and down, and now that it's down, it's going to go back up again. I just think that's like kind of like a naive like standpoint on how I would approach it. I think the reality of it is, if the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is look at the team behind Verge, or any coin for that matter, and just see how they're trying to build on top of this coin itself and the technology, and how they're trying to push this coin along with the other ones in the narrative of cryptocurrency. So I just think like that's my thought on it. I think I'd be more concerned of the team behind it, and what comes after the team is just what's being talked about in the community. So if you're in these Telegram groups, which I know a lot of you guys are, then just see what people are saying too. I mean, you can't obviously there's going to be people that are trying to hype up the coin because they own it, but you also do meet a lot of people that have an intelligent opinion on these things. So I would say just kind of like look around and see what the kind of like the collective narrative is on a coin like this, outside of the team. But my thoughts on this is it looks, I can't say it looks promising, but it does look like an interesting coin. I don't think this is a shit coin. I don't think this is a pump and dump coin. I think this is a coin that's just getting some intriguing attention from the community, because it's just part of that like privacy narrative right now. And the best thing I'm gonna do right now and say is that I'm closely following the team behind it. I'm closely following like how that team is necessarily taking advantage of that attention, and that's really what I can say at this point, because right now Monero kind of runs the whole show with with the privacy topic at the moment. So that's my stance on Verge. I know I didn't cover that many details. Like I said, I just wanted this video to be kind of like a quick overview on people that just wanted to know like what's going on at the moment. And maybe a video after this, possibly this week, I can release a very, very in-depth video on Verge, and possibly a very in-depth video on Monero and how they compare at a much more insightful level. So that's my thoughts for Verge, and I'll continue to write more about it.